All right, here Socrates doesn't claim to know that death is a relocation of the soul in the Apology, where he's arguing that it's irrational to fear death. So that's going to be false. He says it might be either of two things. Okay. Phaedo, argument from opposites. Yeah, that attempts to show that everything that has an opposite comes to be what it is from its opposite. That's how Socrates gets to the conclusion that the soul must become dead now that it's living and must have come to be living from the dead, and that gets him to his final conclusion that it's immortal. But this was something that he needed to show along the way. So it's not the final conclusion, but it's a conclusion along the way. Okay, Wittgenstein, his criticism of the theory of the forms, that's going to be here. He says, really, we just have a family resemblance instead of some one single essence. So that's what we've got there. Socrates' philosophical method just is called the Elenchus. So that we got there right from the audio. Here, the claim that the soul is harmony of the body, that's not made by Socrates, that claim, and it's actually an argument against the claim that the soul is immortal, so that's going to be false. When he's asking for the form of piety, that's going to be this, property that all pious actions have makes them pious. So here, number 7, that interesting question up here is raising this distinction of subjective and objective properties. Very interesting question. So here about the affinity, simplicity argument, that's based on the presumed property of the soul, namely that it is non-composite. Thus it can't die in the way that composite things do. So that's that here. Poets, politicians, and artisans, they thought they knew all kinds of things and they weren't able to back up any of their knowledge claims. So that looks like they didn't know what they presumed to know. Here, official charge of atheism. That means that we've got an argument here against Meletus, not the oracle at Delphi. So it's going to be C. Third definition of piety differs from the second just in that little respect that the word all was added. Here, argument from recollection in Phaedo shows that the soul must have existed prior to the body because that's when it got the knowledge that was needed to perceive once it's in the body. That must have been gotten sometime prior to beginning to perceive, which Socrates says happens right away. So which of the following is the second reason found deficient? The second one, it's not this. That sets up the problem. The problem is this, that it implies a contradiction when combined with other statements of Euthyphro. Here, Euthyphro, no, he never says this. As a matter of fact, they just don't even discuss it. Euthyphro takes the objective definition and Socrates just shows that there's problems with that. One might have been left wondering, wow, maybe he should have taken the other one, it would have been okay, but they didn't. Socrates never made that claim. And in the audio, I spelled out a lurking problem that would have faced the other route taken, namely that divine command theory style objection. So Socrates' story about the encounter, oracle at Delphi, here, that leaves him without a teaching with which to corrupt them. And it was thought that that is the instrument of his corruption, is precisely his heretical teachings. And it turns out he has, by his own account, no knowledge that he would claim as such and thus be passing on as a teaching. So that's how that one works.